What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Hometown Advantage, where two hometown guys shine light on small town sports. This is Dominic Massimiano, teacher and head football coach at Rising Sun High School, and joining me as always is my co-host Shane Muller.
What's going on?
Former Rising Sun and Wesley College baseball player. This episode is brought to you by Cecil County's own Bird Dog Plumbing. They are expertly trained to handle all plumbing emergencies the same day you call. As a family-owned business with young kids themselves, they understand the importance of keeping your family on schedule. Upon calling, they'll quickly diagnose and solve any plumbing problems you have so you can make your child's practice that evening without worrying about any plumbing issues at home. They are licensed and bonded in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Give them a call today. They are ready to spot your plumbing solutions with Bird Dog Precision. And as always, we think it's awesome that you decided to join us today. So if you like what you hear, be sure to download this episode, leave a rating, share us somewhere on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube now. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hometown Advantage or _Advantage1. So today we are joined by Aaron, I'm saying this right, Rouselle.
Yes, sir.
Aaron Rouselle. And Aaron is an integral part of youth sports development in our area, founder of Pops Culture. I had to look up if you were the owner, manager that I saw on the site. So founder. A local nonprofit indoor training facility, as well as the softball coach at the local Cecil College. And on top of all he does for the community, Aaron was also a standout athlete himself, earning himself Player of the Year in basketball during his time at Perryville High School. This is going to be a good one because when we talk about small town sports, I think you might be the definition of it. So
I'm deep in it.
Yeah. So how you doing, man? Are you excited to be on?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm pumped. I was really I saw what you guys were doing. I was like, man, that's cool because I've had similar ideas, but I'm in two different directions now.
Yeah, right.
So I love that you guys are doing this because this area needs it. These kids need to hear more positivity and kind of what they need to do to get to where they want to go.
Yes, sir.
But at the same time, even spotlight a few of them. Everyone deserves their 5-10 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much in the 3 weeks. But mine is our buddy Joe. He lived in Jersey, but he was a small town guy in Jersey. Went to a D3 school, made it to the NFL, played for 6 years. Sorry.
So.
And yeah, just kind of we walked through with him and everybody else. What did your recruiting process look like? What did high school feel like in Cecil? What can these kids do? And I try to do that every day at school. I know you do that a lot. So that is the main goal of this whole, and just have fun and laugh and just, shoot the crap with friends. So, yeah. So, man, we're excited to have you on.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And, there is so many things we can ask questions about because you just said you go in so many different directions.
I'm everywhere.
And the first time I actually spoke to you was at and you might not remember this, but it was at the cornhole tournament.
Yeah, for the Valentine kid. Yep, John Valentine.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember.
And it was at that red barn down in Rising Sun. And I was like, I run the strength conditioning program. I know you do a lot of training stuff. We never linked up, but maybe in the future.
It'll happen. It's just there's a lot going on. You've had some things come up. I got some things.
Yeah, man. Life.
I trust God's timing.
Life. But yeah, a lot of the questions I have for you, obviously about Pops Culture, bro baseball, all the stuff that I see. You were really active on social media and getting yourself out there and just, putting positive messages out there, which is awesome. So,
I think that's where I came across you first was bro baseball. And I know a couple of people that you were highlighting, and I know a couple of people that know you, and the whole bro baseball culture it's pretty awesome, man, especially for the youth guys. A lot of those younger kids, man, they're ate up with it. They love that, your whole branding,
I see at least one a day at school.
Yeah, it blows my mind because it really, it started me and my buddies. We play over 30 baseball. We're just hitting. And we're talking about just random things, guys just talk about nonsense most of the time.
Sure, right.
And we came up with the idea, and everyone says, bro, let's throw an H on it for Maryland. And I'm like, all right. And to them, it was just an idea of a casual conversation, and nothing was coming of it. But that's not the way I work.
Yeah.
I have a rule: if I have an idea, I don't write it down. But if I remember in the morning, I pursue it because I forget a lot of things. I remember, bro. Just took it and just started making shirts, hats, and then started just giving them out to all these kids and explaining what it meant. And then it's it blows my mind, man, when you go to no matter what school I've been to recently, like you find at least one bro or pops related thing. It's real cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's really cool to see the community support a small business too, because like I've tried that route and I got a little bit of support, but not as much as I would have liked. But like I told you, like the kids are just ate up with it. Like your whole branding, it sticks with everybody, and it's really cool to see.
I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it.
Why not? I mean, they're eating it up. Yeah, like you said, like we just talked about not saying any names, but your boy Trent Brenneman is in my class. Absolute goober. If you're listening to this, Trent, I like it. I do
that
like
kid
it.
to death. Sometimes I just want to wring his neck. And with the benefit of Pops and the relationship that I've built with Trent and his family through Pops and Bro Baseball, even like our first program, the Cubs, is if I needed to wring his neck, his parents would approve.
Right.
I think it's in my waiver, actually. I will hit your kids if they annoy me.
Sure. I mean, that's a good thing for a disclosure. He's always wearing the Bro Baseball shirt. I think they look sick, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Need to get some of it.
Right.
And also, just watching him play baseball, I know he's going through other stuff, and I know he works with you a lot because I've seen him in all the pictures that you guys post.
Yeah, he's there.
He's actually pretty nasty. I don't much about baseball as I know. I'm watching him pitch a little bit.
He has no idea how good he could be.
He got brought up to varsity for a couple games already.
With minimum effort.
Yeah.
If that boy just locked in, I tell him every time I see him, like, Trent, you have what these other kids don't have. You passed the eye test.
Yes.
Get in the gym.
As a freshman, he's a big kid.
He has an
what he is, a
entire commercial gym in his pole barn. His parents hooked that boy up.
Nice.
Wow.
But all he eats is hot dogs and doesn't lift a single weight.
So he's a teenager. That makes sense.
But he's a phenomenal kid. He's exactly what you call him. No, he's a goober, but that kid has a heart of gold on him.
Yeah, he's cool.
And he's easily distracted, but when you can get him to focus, phenomenal.
Yeah, very respectful in class and stuff. And I have a lot of other ones too that are also really respectful too. But we always like to start with, like, since you were a Cecil County guy too, we always like to start with like the high school journey. Personally, neither of us. I do know that you were a good athlete in high school. From what I talked to Rusty Moore. I think he came into Perryville after you graduated. But we also talked to like Dave Ruark, who was there, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was my gym teacher.
Yeah, like amazing athlete. You played basketball and baseball?
I played baseball my senior year, but then I quit to just go. Like, I was such a turd of a student. I graduated on 1.9 GPA.
Well,
Wow.
I was but that's why I do what I do now, because
Exactly.
I had all the talent in the world, but I had no guidance, no direction, and
Right.
I didn't care. Like, I
Right.
failed off everything my freshman year.
Yeah,
and, like,
so
I just was a turd. There's no other way to put
so
it.
basketball was your main sport?
Yeah, but that was really only because of my ego.
Okay.
I never played basketball really until I moved to Maryland in '97.
Okay.
I'm way better at football. I was way better at baseball, but I couldn't just take over.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, I lived in downtown Port Deposit. There was a basketball court by my house.
Yeah.
And I lived there. I didn't leave. Like, I would shovel. I remember shoveling snow off the court, and I could just take over.
I know exactly where that court is.
Yep.
It's still there.
It fed my ego, and I tell kids all the time, like, the harsh reality of basketball in Cecil County is being good here doesn't matter.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's like you can be really, really good in Cecil County and then go to Hartford County or
Not even be a
somewhere
starter.
else and be the sixth guy,
Yeah,
be the seventh guy.
Football and baseball and track, in my opinion, are where it's at for advancement. I think every kid who plays sports should run track. Learn how to run.
Right.
There is an art form to
Talk
it,
about it.
and
Talk
these
about
kids
it.
run like they got bricks on their feet because they don't know how to run.
My fastest 40 that I ever ran for football was coming out of a track season. I mean, we were like, I saw in one of your articles you did the 4x1, right? In the transplant games, and that's what we did, yeah. And like, shout out Coach Trayvon Morgan over at Perryville, who's killing it over there.
Oh yeah.
He got us insanely fast. I mean, I hated my life every single time I went to practice, but it was so needed for the sport.
There's an art form to run. It's not just give it all you got. It's like
exactly.
so there's a lot more to it.
So much that goes into it. But so you moved down here, and like when you started playing Cecil County sports, like what was your experience with just Cecil County sports in general? I know you talked about the basketball, if you're a star and stuff like that, but how was your time when you played here?
I loved it. Even like the football, the brief time I was with the baseball team, I loved every minute of it. It was really the only reason I even went to school was for sports. But if I was going to be completely honest, I think because of Cecil County being such a small area and so many coaches just being, like teachers and who necessarily don't have the experience,
Sure.
or somebody's dad who's just going to take the time to do it because no one else wants to.
Sure.
Right.
A lot of athletes get lost in it because they don't get pushed to be their best.
Sure.
They get the good ones here get a lot of special treatment because they're good. Like once they knew I was good at sports, I got away with a lot of things that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I appreciated it at the time, but if more people would have held me accountable, from 15 to 17, I probably would have made a lot better choices. But I mean, that's at the same time, it's not their fault.
Right.
It's not like anyone did anything maliciously to hold us back or hold anyone back. They do their best, but I think as a coach, you have to be constantly learning more. And I think in this area, there's a lot of coaches with egos who think they know it all, or their way is the best way, and they don't coach the individual. And I think that's where a lot of things get lost. Every kid's different. Everything that makes them tick is different. And if you don't learn how to, you got to learn what gets the kid going. And then some kids need the hug. Right. Other kids need to just be called an asshole, and it fires them up. Like, and if you're not, like, but some coaches aren't willing to do that. It's my way or the highway, and I'm like, I don't think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things Coach Knapp, my coach at Wesley, told me, it was like, you have to coach who you have. Like, if you try to coach your way with the same group of people you did last year that was successful, with this group that doesn't work for that, you aren't going to be successful.
Yep.
And I think me being a teacher too is like, you talked about differentiating your coaching. That kid needs way more attention and needs things laid out on a silver platter, in terms of what to do on this play.
Yep.
This kid just gets it, right? And I can go finer details with him. And that's like, I'm thankful for having to see the kids every day as well as doing that, because, we get to have more of those conversations like you're talking about.
Yeah, that's huge. And once they trust you, they'll do anything for you. And
exactly.
Right. The best part of it is, too, is like when you coach long-term or you build you build a program, which you don't really, you see it with Elkton football, I think, has been a pretty long, upstanding program. They were dominant when I was in school 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. But you build that relationship, and then the kids that are coming up, they already know what it is.
Yep.
And then the kids that are there you don't have to be the police, and because they're self-policing, and that's what as a coach, you need kids to hold each other accountable, because they get sick of hearing me yell at them all the time.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the hardest things as a coach is to get young people to step up and be a leader. Right. And that's a big part of what I try to do at Pops is like leadership. Like it doesn't matter who the worst player is on your team, because your success is dependent on his success. So you could tell him he sucks all day long, and that's only going to hurt you, because if he goes 0 for 4 and he ends up doing that with bases loaded 3 different times, that's costing the team. So you as athletes, I try to get them to understand, like, stop being mean to him, help him, and then it makes my life easier. Right. And I think that's where a lot of things get lost, is kids who aren't up to par kind of get left and forgotten because they spend so much time with the kids who really want it.
Yeah.
And I think, if you coach a team sport, your success is, it's corny, but your chain's only as strong as your weakest link.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of kids too, just need that confidence boost. There's a lot of kids that are like tucked in their little shell,
many.
And they just really don't, they could have pure athleticism in them, and they just don't know it because they've never had the confidence to jump to that next level. And that's where a good coach can help, like you're saying, can focus on that and pull them out and make them better athlete, and then their confidence builds up, and then they can become the team leader or just a leader in general. That's
probably the most important attribute, in my opinion, with an athlete, especially baseball players: confidence. It doesn't matter how pretty your swing is. It doesn't matter how smooth you are in practice. If you're not confident, you don't stand a chance. I've seen terrible swings, but that kid believes in himself when he steps in that box, and he's going to make contact way more than that kid who's going hitting lessons 3 times a week, but he doesn't believe in himself. And I don't even like when people ask me what I coach. I just tell them I'm like I just try to coach confidence because now with Pops, this is like year 4. I don't even work with just athletes anymore. I got kids that come to Pops that just want to play the violin, and like I do the same thing I do with my athletes. I gas him up to like put in the work and you can be great. Like, and I truly believe this. And I'm a Kobe guy, and Kobe was not naturally good at basketball, but he worked to be great. And with the tools that these kids have access to, with social media, they have such an advantage because when I was in school, I couldn't look up the top 100 in the country or even in Maryland. So I thought I was beating everybody. I was always one of the best one on the court. So I was like, man, I'm probably the next Michael Jordan because every time I play, I do really well.
You're like top 10,000.
Yeah, and come to find out, I didn't even probably not even the top. Like I'm not even D1 caliber basketball player. Like maybe D2. Yeah. But like I was only 6 foot when I graduated, and I did not play like a guard. Like I was trying to bully people because I was
6 foot in Cecil County.
Yeah, you're stuck in the paint. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about 6 foot. I was a big guy. I mean, like, it was like I tell kids that now, and they're like, I'll work them in the post in class, and they're like, what the heck, man? I'm like, this is all I did. Like, I'm not a shooter. Like, I'm supposed to be a shooter somewhere else, but not here.
Yeah, so, it's just different. So it's
yeah, that's why. I mean, that's why we're trying to do this. And I mean, I do it. I know you mentioned Elkton football. Like Rossi is actually, well, giving it away. He's coming on next week. Right. But like, he's a guy. I'm a guy because I've been there for so many times. Like, there's kids coming up that know Coach Dom. They know Coach Rossi, and it's like the rules are set. And it's like they've heard it from the guys that have done it with us. That this is the way things run up here. So when you come up here, right, come ready to work. Yeah. And it's like the rules are set, and we're not starting from ground zero, and having to teach somebody what a football looks like, stuff like that.
Yeah, they're ready.
So we can work on the finer things when we do that. So yeah,
I think that all can stem to like from good like middle school programs as well.
We talked about the feeder programs before.
Right. Yeah. And if you like those feeder programs. If the coaches have the same intentions as the high school coaches, you're training them, you're molding them, you're doing everything the right way. So as soon as they graduate from 8th grade, it's okay. It's go time. Yep. We're right into it.
Yeah, that's like my youngest. He's 13, so he'll be going in 8th grade next year. I tell him all the time, listen, man, like, gone are the days of me wanting it for you and saying, hey, we're going to the fields.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I will do anything you want to do, but you got to want it. Right. Yeah, I don't ever want to be that parent that wants it more than you. I'm not forcing you to go to the field. Like, if you just want to play for fun, we'll play for fun. But if you really have this pro dream, like, you need to lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing you can say there is you can't want it more than the person. Because
and you see that in so many sports.
I want it bad. And we talked about that on your podcast about how competitive. Like, I want it real bad. I can't do anything about it but call play. And then
hope they execute.
I hope it works.
Right. I mean, that's just being a dad or a coach in general. It's like, like my dad rode me to the end of the earth, I'm like, it's like, but like you're saying, at some point, it's like, you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to want it.
They can't do it for you. You got to want it.
Coaching Cecil softball this year was probably the most challenging thing I've ever done because we won one game out of like 30. And I had girls that never played softball before. And then the majority of my team haven't played for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. But me being me, like I never went into a game expecting to lose, but then we lose a game, 30-2. Right. Sure. It was so frustrating. But then I really started. There's nothing I love more than winning, but I stopped worrying about winning the game and started worrying more about winning in situations, if that makes sense. So it's
win the day, win the practice,
when
win
we started
drill.
like pursuing progress over perfection. Yeah. And and if you look at the team from where we started to where we finished, in my opinion, I should be coach of the year.
Because you hear that out there?
We had innings where the other team would just leave the base early just to get over, like they were sick of scoring runs. To where by the end of the season, we still lost big, but we got all the outs. Sure. And it sucked.
Yeah, but if you're going to stay with it for a couple of years, and you have to you can't just, everybody can't come into just like,
You got to embrace the suck.
right, can't come into the best situation ever. Sure, some people do, but it's like, well, if I'm going to be here next year, we might as well work on some things.
Yeah, I wasn't inheriting a program. Like, we haven't had a team in like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like, it was at that point where like, hey, like I was begging girls, hey, you play volleyball. It's kind of like softball. I have scholarship money. You want to play? And they were like, yeah. And then you teach them softball. And like, it was tough because at that level, I shouldn't have to teach you softball.
Right,
it's more
of
about
course.
managing it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we're teaching softball. But it's
Like you said, though, it has been so long since it's been a program, so people probably weren't ever, like Cecil's probably not on people's radar. Where for basketball, we talked about it with Hess, who coaches at the high school, played at Cecil. Like, people were flocking to Cecil because they knew the name.
Basketball powerhouse. If you're not going to a big school, it's if you have to go to JUCO, Cecil was on everybody's. I mean, from all over the
where
world.
you're from.
Right.
I mean, when I was there was a guy from Africa.
Yeah, when you're looking up like best JUCOs to go play, you're seeing Cecil. So hopefully, down the line, that's what your softball team becomes.
That's the plan.
I haven't
the
looked in
plan.
a while, but their baseball team used to be the same way. It used to be one of the
Yeah,
top JUCO teams.
I don't know.
They used to be.
Yeah.
They've been struggling. I go to a
I
lot of
haven't
their
looked
games.
in a while.
They've been struggling.
That's why I said that one time. I was like, I didn't know they were still that good, but
Yeah.
they were.
Is Coach O'Brien? Do you know if Coach O'Brien's
Coach
still
O'Brien is still there.
Okay.
His two sons help out now.
there?
But
Okay.
O'Brien's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
there.
Nice.
I played with one of his sons
Nice.
for a long time.
Nice. Well, I mean that's as good as Cecil County talk as we can get there. But so like you played Cecil County, and we talked about this before we started, and you kind of hinted on it of why you did pops, right? And you talked about like because you didn't have the guidance from your coaches, you kind of were like, and you didn't think about it when you were 15 to 17. I'm going to start something down the line that's going to help kids out. But like, what was your like biggest influence? And you might even repeat yourself here. But what was your biggest influence in just saying like 4 years ago, you're like, I got to start this?
I mean, honestly, God told me to.
Okay.
When I was in the hospital for my second liver transplant, I had an out-of-body experience, and I'll never forget it. It's vivid. It's super clear. It was me, my niece who passed at 16, and a person who I perceived to be God. And I was just like in so much pain. I was like, I don't want to go through this anymore. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm just done. And then he presented me with an option. He said, Aaron, you can come on to heaven now if you want to, but I'm not done with you yet.
All right.
I talked to my niece. My niece was like, can you just let her mom know? Because my sister, after she passed, she was just in a dark spiral.
Yeah.
She was like, can you just let my mom know that I'm fine? The only thing that bothers me is that she's not living the life that she should. She's just living in a way just, sad.
Right.
So I called my sister soon. I woke up from whatever I was in. I think I was asleep for like 9 days.
Oh.
Woke up, called my sister right away, told her what Jasmine told me to tell her. Had the idea for Pops as soon as I got done that and just started writing. Talked to my buddy Ricky Masca and Tyler Orr. They believed in it, and then we just started going at it. And then we started it during COVID. I really had no idea what I was doing. I just trusted my heart and what I just moved based on what felt right. And I just knew there's so much talent in this area, in multiple sports, but it gets lost in being Cecil County good. And I fell for that. And I also didn't do any homework or schoolwork.
Sure.
So without the academics, you're not getting any up. I'll never forget. My mom worked with, you guys probably don't know who this is, but his name was Mike Sweeney. He used to play for his Knicks. My mom worked with his brother. So his brother got a hold of Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo gave me a call. We were talking on the phone. He asked me about my grades. He saw my tape. He's like, "Yeah, you look good." He's like, "You're not there yet, but you can put on some size, and a year prep school or JUCO, you'd be there." Then he asked me about my grades. I told him my GPA. He hung up.
Yeah.
Didn't hear from another college coach after that.
Wow.
Because he told everyone.
Yeah.
And it's when I realized, okay, so then I went on to JUCO, and I was scholar athlete, graduated to college with a 3.6. I wasn't dumb. I was just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's what I try to tell these kids is just don't get out of your own way, really.
Yes, thank you. we're speaking from the same spot here, just because, man, you just have some kids that it's like, you are so good, and it's like, but I have to worry about your grades, or I have to worry about what you're doing in class, and then you have the conversation with them, and you hope it changes, and if it doesn't, you have another conversation with them.
Yeah. It sucks because it's they just don't always buy in.
Sure.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we ever stop selling, because
100%.
I was the same way. Like there was a few coaches who was like, Aaron, man, if you just locked in, like everyone pushed me towards football because I was tall, I could jump, I could really just pinpoint, like high point balls really well. But I just didn't care about football. I didn't have the mindset to be a football. You got to be different to be a football player. Like
it takes a little bit.
You guys are nuts. Like,
yeah, it takes a little bit of attitude.
I didn't have like I didn't want to hit anybody unless they hit me. And if they hit me, I was going to try to beat you up.
Right.
But
that's what we try to refrain from doing that. But yeah, sure. But at least you have that little bit of swagger. Yeah. So.
I did not have that, and I hated going to football practice. I would only go on Thursdays for pregame, the walkthrough. Never went to practice. Yeah, because I knew I didn't have to put the pads on. I had to hit nobody. But that just speaks volumes on how lazy and pathetic I was.
Yeah,
like, if I would have locked in, like, I mean, I'd run scout team quarterback and just run around like a maniac because, like, I was just really athletic, but with no direction, no guidance. And like my parents, it was kind of like you see how these parents are so overbearing now for the most part. My parents, like, I was adopted, so there's nobody else in my family who does sports. So they didn't care. Yeah. Like I went home and like I scored 25 touchdowns today, and they just like, "What's a touchdown?" So there was never any pressure from home, which was really nice. But at the same time, it's like, man, what maybe if there was.
But you were a teenager having to, like you said, figure it out on your own, and it's like they don't. Some people can. The great ones can. The ones that can be great, like, need that little shove. So, I mean, that's...
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can only figure out so much on your own. You still need your parents
to... You still want to be a kid.
Push you out the door. You know, like, just at least get you in the right direction.
Yeah, you still got the teenage mindset of, like you said, I'm the best. I don't want to put any extra work in.
Like, why? Like, especially at that time for basketball, I'm not lifting weights. It's going to mess up my jump shot.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to change our place. Just because when they start driving, they get bumped off their block in one dribble. It's like, maybe if you had a little bit of short.
Yeah, get a little stronger. Yeah,
you get a little mass under you.
Every kid's like, or even the parents like, oh, well, I want to get my son hitting lessons. I want to get pitching lessons. I want to get him a gym membership and a tutor.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, save your money.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, we can get into a whole conversation about that.
I could go on for days. Yeah,
me too. And I don't even know anything about baseball just because I see the kids in school, and I just think like I watch you play. It's like I don't know about all those hitting or pitching lessons, but
and it ain't cheap.
No, not at all.
So for people that may not know, what exactly is pops culture?
What is pops culture?
That's a deep
tough
question.
one too, because it's so much. The easiest way for me to explain it is probably it's a safe place where kids can come be a kid and get everything they need to be confident in the individual that they are. Because you don't have to do sport. I mean, sports is it gets them in the door. Because for the most part, even the kids who weren't in the sports when we do our summer camp, there's kids that'll come there and they'll play Fortnite for 8 hours straight. And I'm cool with it. And the parents get mad and they're like, well, don't just let him sit there and play video games. Like, why not? That's what he wants to do. Right. It's summertime and there's scholarships in that now. Like,
sure,
it's what your kid's into. Like, but by them sitting there, you know, the first week they stick to their video games, but then they hear these kids behind them having a good time playing basketball or dodgeball. Or, you know, we got hit tracks or hitting baseballs. And they're like, oh, let me go try this. And it's just like, you don't when you force a kid to do something, they just don't want to do it. But if you let them think they're figuring it out on their own, they're a lot more likely to pursue it. And then my thing was when they come into sport, it's like I don't push them too hard. I try to teach them to love it and let them learn to love it, because when you love something, you're going to work way harder for it.
Right. Yeah.
But it's if you can't get them to love it, they're not going to ever reach their full potential. And it's no different. And it's even like to the point now, like there's even adults that I mentor quite a bit, because there's a lot of people my age that are just miserable.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but I'm just like, you have to create the life you want.
Yeah.
Like the only way to do that is like stop living the life where you feel like you have to appease anyone.
Right.
And that's what I try to get these kids to understand. Like, being popular, like, you can't be cool. You either are or you aren't.
It's true.
It's like, it's not something that you're just gonna like work for. Like, and they'll go like, some kids will just go out there and try to do things because like, oh, like they laugh at me. Like, yeah, they're laughing at you, you dummy.
Right. Well, that's the problem. It's like, yeah, people that aren't, you know, just always walking in and dapping everybody up. It's like, I'm gonna go do something really dumb. It's like, dude, just do your own thing, and you'll find the people in that group that do that thing as well, and they're going to think you're freaking awesome.
It's so like it's when you learn to be yourself and you're comfortable within your own skin.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn this till I was like 30. Life just gets easier. It's free. It's peaceful, and that's like a big part of Pops. And obviously, it'd be super awesome for some kid to go pro through Pops, and then I could post it all over the internet. I'm like, I helped get this kid here.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, even if they go pro, they still got to be a functioning member of society. And like that's my biggest thing. I'm just like, I try to get them like, don't ever treat anyone like poorly. Like even if they're disrespectful to you, like don't match energy. Reset the boundary. And like that's my biggest thing is like we have so many different kids in Pops, especially in the summertime. There's baseball players, basketball players, kids playing the violin, kids playing video games. There's autistic kids. I mean, it's everything in one pot. And in the grand scheme of things, no one would think it would work. But if you just let the kids be kids and stay out of the way, they figure things out. In 4 years, knock on wood, because I don't want anything bad to happen, we've had no fights, we've had a little like petty arguments, but they nip it pretty quickly. But no like negative occurrences because I just let the kids figure it out. Yeah. And like I just monitor. And when they come to me with a problem, and if I feel like they're just being little crybabies, I'll just tell them, like, yo, like, stop being a baby, man. Like, be tougher. Like, suck it up.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and that's why, like, one of my close friends is the executive director of Boys and Girls Club, begs me to go work there all the time. If at some point my health hopefully improves and I'll be able to go back to work, and I would love to go back to work with kids in a school setting. But at the same time, it's like, I've been doing this for so long and I don't have any, like, I could do things that are right. Yeah. Well, what I perceive is right without having to worry about getting in trouble or someone calling me to the office. Or there's no in a lot of bigger organizations, you got to be politically correct. Yeah. And in this world, politically correct is rarely morally correct. And I can't get down with it. So I will be poor and homeless before I go work somewhere else now, because I've become too set in my ways of like trying to do things the morally correct way, and like principles don't sway. Yeah. And I don't, and that's what I try to get these kids. I don't want them to just go become, a cog in the wheel. And the area we live in, I worked there myself at one point in my life. Like these kids, for the most part, they graduate high school, especially athletes, and they go work in a warehouse for a few years. If they're lucky, they get on an Amtrak. Yeah. But they, the majority of them are working at Amazon, and it's a decent pay. It's a good living. But
it's not what they want to do.
No, it's not. There's no passion in it. Yeah. And like a life without passion, is it worth living? Yeah. Because I lived a life where I worked and I had money in the bank, but when I got sick, that money couldn't do anything for me. Right. But now I can't remember the last time I was sad, mad, or depressed. It's been years. Strictly because I only do what I want to do. I mean, I'm poor, but I don't care about money. It's just it's material.
But like I mean, and you mentioned the Boys and Girls Club, but I like when you say like what is Pops culture, I don't think Pops culture is a Boys and Girls Club, but it's like it's just that safe space for people to come and do what they want.
Yeah, it's literally we have
and learn about what their passion is, and maybe they're a teenager, their passion's going to change. 18 times.
So much.
I mean, Fortnite's great for one day. I'm 30 years old. I still play Fortnite.
I can't build. That game just makes me mad.
I do zero build. I fell off of the build game.
But even like if you think about Fortnite, like we're so quick to discredit this generation of kids as dumb and lazy, but they're just wired differently than us. They're not. They can't singularly focus. Yeah. But if you watch them play Fortnite, they could do 45 different things at one time. Right. And I've noticed it with my son. Like I'm like, yo, go do this. It'll take him forever. But if I'm like, go do this, 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 and this, he'll do all of it. Right. He'll do 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. But over here with the one, he's just sitting there twiddling his thumbs, trying to just doing nothing. Yeah. So it's like these kids are they're just a more advanced computer, man. Their processors are different than us. Like they're working way faster.
When we run practices, it's got to be like we're like 10, 15-minute sessions. Then we get the team. It's a little longer, but it's
you got to be short.
We got to be good. We got to go. We got to get it in now. We got to move on because we stay in one session for 30 minutes. It's like, all right, this session's now not worth anything.
Yeah, you lost
because we're losing people. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Pops is from what I've seen I mean, I look at all your social media stuff and all the pictures you're doing. Talked about the Hit Tracks League. I know you're doing this. I seen a summer camp coming up this summer.
That's always our biggest thing. It's so fun.
You do I just see people playing basketball there. You got like the video games right up on like your website and stuff. Besides the summer camp, is there anything like coming up for people that can get involved in?
So we haven't put anything out there yet, but we're in the works of. We're going to run a few baseball camps. Pretty much, we're going to break it down. We're going to do a catcher's camp, pitcher's camp, outfielders camp, infield camp, and then we're going to bring it all together in a baseball IQ camp.
Nice.
Because they're just dumb when it comes to baseball. Like I've seen so many kids. Yeah, but you're not actively pursuing. Like there's kids that are telling me, I want to go play for Oklahoma. I'm going to go here, but then they don't understand what to do in any situational baseball. And like baseball is a game for thinkers, but you have to think. Like you're essentially analyzing 50,000 different situations every single pitch.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of kids doing it. So they'll make the play, but then they only make one play, and then they just live in that moment. But with baseball, it's like, okay, as soon as you make it, it's on to the next.
Right.
But they do a lot of them struggle with like the failure aspect of it. They get stuck on the failure. So they make one error, then they make two, and then it's three, or they have one at bat, and then,
they
then
can pile. They can pile,
and it's
sure.
So what we did it last summer, just kind of like a trial run with it to see how it works. We no longer say anything to them for a physical error. We only talk about mental errors. And we had more success than we ever had with teams. We won the majority of our games, which doesn't really happen very often in this area for teams. And I think strictly because these kids weren't afraid to mess up.
Yeah.
They didn't have to worry about their dad screaming at them for booting the ball at shortstop or swinging at a pitch over their head. And the way, like, I can't hit to save my life, but the way I teach hitting, I tell them, stop worrying about home plate. That's 17 inches, lives rent-free in your head. Figure out what you can hit and what you can't hit, and then hunt your pitch. Don't worry about a ball or a strike and worrying about what the umpire's going to call. See the ball, hit the ball.
Right.
I feel like I can go hit a homer at Fenway Park right now over the Monster.
I've seen your swing.
Yeah, it's not
We could set that up. We could go to Fenway on Hit Tracks.
It's not good. Yeah, I'll pop over and you can see me ground out every
Anytime
time.
you want. We'll put the boost on for you.
Wait, what's the? Is it like a guy throwing soft toss or is it pitching machine?
So you could do whatever. You could hit off the tee. You could do pitching machine, soft
I'll do the
toss.
tee.
You can do live ABs. If you ever got a kid who's just running his mouth at school and you want to deal, all right, come see me.
That's pretty
do
tight.
live ABs.
I've never done one of those. That seems pretty awesome.
It's
I've seen
so cool.
You had the whole league, right?
Yeah, we do that every Sunday. It's a lot of fun.
You're still doing that now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I had to
sweet.
skip I've had softball games and I was sick for a while, so we missed a few, but we'll be back at it.
That's cool.
And hopefully in our new building this Sunday, if I could, depending how I feel tomorrow, like I've been going pretty hard, so I just know like my body's going to shut down here soon, and I'll need 2 or 3 days to recover. But Hit Tracks it's such a valuable tool for baseball players, and the kids just think it's a game. Sure. But we force them to think before they go in the batter's box to hit, and I'm like, okay, because they just have really selfish at bats. They'll go in there and they're just swinging out of their shoes all the time, and I'm like, yo, there's a runner on first and second with 1 out, and you're swinging out of your shoes, so you roll over, ground out into a double play, inning over. Right. Why not just take one over, little bloop single over second base, or hit one up the middle?
You can put them in different situations and that stuff.
Yep, you can put base runners wherever you want. It's
cool.
It's crazy what you could do, and now they just added a catching interface and a pitching interface, so you can see spin rates, how much their curveballs drop, their pop time, how quick they transfer glove to hand. It's if they can practice throwing runners out.
Like the catchers can use the Hit Tracks.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
It's
I think
pretty
Hit
wild.
Tracks. I only think it's for hitting, but
I mean
that's the majority of it, but it'll do it all.
All that stuff got real popular after I played, but I mean, like it started off as just like video and the catchers or your hitters or something like that, and then throwing it in a program. It might have even been that program early, and it would just break everything down and show you, all the angles and your velocity and all that.
Oh, it's crazy.
That is pretty awesome.
Imagine how good you could have been if you had Hit Tracks.
Yeah, you're just before your time. How old are you now?
30.
You can just come join us in our over 30 league and pretend you're a pro.
You play for the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Andrew Kabbalah.
Oh yeah. I was actually just talking to him a minute ago. It's okay.
And
you guys need any players?
Always.
Jeff Martin played on that team, right?
Jeff's on our team. Yep.
You don't want
He's one of the ones one of the OGs of the bro. Like he was one of the ones
Yeah, I
that would
always
come
saw
up
him.
with it.
I always saw
Yeah.
it. And he graduated.
Him and his brother, right? He
Yeah,
has a
him,
brother?
John. Yeah, John's closer to my
When did he
age.
graduate? Like when we were freshmen or sophomore? We were in high school with him, but
He's a year younger than Brittany, so he would have graduated in 09, 010?
yeah, so,
Something like that.
Yeah. 010.
010.
Oh, 10. It's a good year.
That's a good year.
Good year.
Solid year.
Good year. BC or AD. Yeah. Anyway,
funny.
get off topic. That's pretty
Every
common.
podcast, dude. I'm good for one. Every podcast.
That's pretty common. Sorry, I started that one. Yeah, that's awesome. I've just watched everything that you've done, and like I said, I knew nothing about the hit tracks. Besides, I thought you just go in there and hit the ball, and you get a guy on first. But that's cool. You can like set up the situations and teach us situational stuff. And we did just get some breaking news that you are starting something that's not out there yet.
Right.
So
Not out there yet.
This podcast
It's,
heard it first, baby.
Dropping
Let's
it
go.
here.
Let's go.
Bro, baseball is making a comeback. We're doing teams.
All right.
Nice.
All right.
Actually, I don't even know if can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Heck yeah.
PBR baseball. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that.
I have not.
They're working on doing something in Cecil County for the first time ever this summer too,
Oh, really?
and we're going to try to help facilitate that and get it going because it just
Nice.
it falls perfectly because it's about exposure and like Cecil
Right.
County doesn't get a lot of exposure.
Right.
Unless you go to the tournaments in Georgia and Florida.
Yeah, you got to
Right.
get on those.
Yeah.
You got to travel for all those months.
Yeah, and you better have the money to do it.
Buku bucks,
'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, it's and that's a big part of why I do what I do too, because there's a lot of kids who just can't afford it.
Right.
Like it should not cost you thousands of dollars to get an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we fundraise, like we have so many fundraisers coming up, and like Tarumo is doing a bingo, and whatever they raise, they're going to donate to that
Nice.
to Pops.
Nice.
Like it's crazy the support that we get from this community, and it's only gonna like these kids, and it kind of makes me sad because more kids could benefit from Pops.
Sure.
But they just don't have the ability to get there. Like there's so many times, like if I'm in town or I'm at a middle school game or even a high school game or even just the little league fields, these kids are always like, "Man, I want to come to Pops, but I can't. I'm like, I don't have a ride." I'm like, so now I drive a minivan because I just try to load them all up. But it's I wish we could find a way to get more kids in the door because I truly believe in what we do.
I see
But
a
it's just
Pops
hard.
bus driving down the road right now with
It's gonna
the
happen.
green and blue logo.
I was
going to
just
pick up all the kids.
I was just thinking, like, man, there's got to be like I don't know, like
Pop stop
like
in town. There it is. Pop stop. Go stand at the Pop stop, and you get picked up.
I mean,
I'll
what?
put a sign out there. I live right in town too. I tell so that's the way it goes. A lot of times, like the middle schoolers will just walk to my house, and I fit as many as I can in my van safely because I would never break any rules.
Of course.
And then we drive, the little 5-minute ride up to
Yeah,
Pops, and then we
right.
just, we party all night long.
Yeah, let's go.
It's-
Is your facility in those warehouses kind of like across from Tarumu? Or
Oh no,
however you
we're
say
in
it?
He's still next to Greenhurst,
right next to Greenhurst, and we just got
okay.
the building behind us.
Yeah.
Well, we're remodeling that now.
Oh, okay.
But that's going to be more like like a hangout spot. We're going to
Yeah.
put ping pong tables in,
Nice, dude.
putting like a computer lab area, and like gonna bring like I've been reaching out to like Canon and all these people trying to get cameras donated, and I think we're going to get a few because I love photography. And there's so many kids that do too, but the equipment's expensive.
Yeah.
And like,
Right.
I mean, every kid with a camera now has an Instagram page doing photos. So
Yeah.
I want to try to expand on that and give these kids a place where they can come edit and do their thing or even have a studio shoot.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends owns CrossFit Havity Grace. He got into photography and now he shoots for Noble, the NFL. He just did a private shoot with Tom Brady. And he's like, yeah, I'll come work with these kids
Sure.
anytime you want. So and like,
Yeah.
he's really good at it.
From
So
Havity Grace to Tom Brady. Let's go, man.
yeah, it's wild. We get like that Noble company started off as just like shoes for CrossFitters, and now like they do all of the NFL stuff. So he's well connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out, and like within, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, they've really
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
skyrocketed.
they're
I was gonna
whoever's
say
doing their
that. I don't even
marketing.
know who that is, but I know you're a photography guy.
Well,
Well,
the,
you
no,
like
the Noble
photography,
thing
so-
was like they were like started on Instagram, and then like they just grew from there, and they've like blown up in the CrossFit world.
All right.
But I mean, this seems like a good time to do the ad for Kenny.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, Kenny, we'll give him a little shout out. So anyway, just want to take a second to shout out one of our sponsors, Kenny Page Sports Photography. I actually just shared him on the Instagram because he took some great shots of the Elkton Rising Sun game yes, 2 days ago. But Kenny's a local photographer, local to Cecil County, who specializes in sports action photos and individual and team portraits. As a Rising Sun High School alumni, Kenny loves supporting local community while staying involved in sports. Interested in more info on pricing, booking, and availability? Reach out via email to kennypagephotography@gmail.com, and be sure to follow him on Instagram at kennypagesports, or find him on Facebook at Kenny Page Sports Photography.
Yes, sir.
He takes some good ones.
He does take some good pictures. I know you've talked to him before.
Yeah.
But if you did get your cameras and all that, he would be somebody you might want to reach out to about maybe volunteering.
Yeah,
or
that'd be a
whatever
good idea.
to teach some
That's,
kids. He's really
He
talented.
definitely would. He's somebody that, like, you talk about somebody diving deep into a hobby.
Oh yeah, he's
My man will
all
dive
in.
deep into a hobby.
Oh yeah, I saw his lenses and I was like, that's a couple mortgage payments.
I'm pretty sure he's renting some of them, right? Maybe he bought them by now. I don't
crazy.
know.
Yeah,
Expensive.
he's bought a lot of them. He'll rent based on a certain situation if
Okay.
he doesn't have a
Yeah.
specific lens or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, he goes
Those
all, he
lenses
goes all
are
in.
dumb expensive. My buddy Brandon's got one. He paid like $25,000 for it, and it doesn't zoom or nothing. It's like this long.
It's one of those NFL ones.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he could use it for a side table. Like, it's nuts.
Well, it's funny because like I was into photography for a little bit and filming hunts and stuff like that, and then like I kind of got him into it, and like he said, like when Kenny picks up a hobby, he's just from 0 to 100. He is all in, dude.
He'll do it the right way, yeah.
But he's gotten really good.
Yeah, as long as they stay at positive hobbies. Yeah, I could-
Yeah, sure, yeah. He hasn't gotten any of those negative ones, 0 to 100. We'll have to stop him before we get to that.
Okay, keep an eye on him.
So we talked about this a little bit too, and you've kind of hit on all my questions. I mean, your answers are just so in depth, and it's good. You kind of screwed my question. No, I'm just joking.
I do ruin a lot of things.
No, you're good. But like you talked about the kids being kids. You got kids that play violin. You got kids that play Fortnite. You got kids that might just want to come there and soon edit photography, then play baseball and basketball. But like you also talk about like, hey man, you got to toughen up and like you got to be a competitor. So like, what's your biggest? How do you bridge that gap between being that killer competitive mindset and also just letting a kid have fun and be a kid?
It comes from getting to know them, and figuring out what their goals are, and then finding out how serious they are about their goals. And then what I try to do, more so with like the high school athletes, is I try to get them to develop an alter ego. Like when I played sports, they would call me they always called me AR-15. I never wore the number 15, but it's because like when I would play, I was just like nonstop, like relentless, like an AR-15. You know what I mean? Like I was just gonna keep coming, like a full clip coming at, and like Kobe had the Black Mamba.
Yep.
So I try to get them like just develop, find something that you can channel to like use as fuel to make you want it more. And it's hard though, because these kids are so like stuck in the instant. So it's hard to get them to, appreciate anything that's going to be long term.
Yeah.
But it just comes from just being really open and authentic to them. And like, especially that ninth grade group that's at Rising Sun now, like that's probably the group that I've spent the most time with. And I am hard on them. But I've been coaching and working with them, and most of them are family friends with, so I've known them their entire lives, but I've been coaching them since they were probably like 8, 9. And I always just let them know, like when I don't want to say verbally abusive, but I say things
When
that
you're
are
coaching,
it challenges everything about them. But I just tell them all the time when they're getting off, I'm like, your actions need to match your goals.
Yeah.
And I call them on everything. Like and they get really frustrated, and they'll call other people that are like a part of Pops and like, ran about me or complain about me. It always comes back to me.
Well, sure. You knew that was going to happen. when you
Yeah,
did
I
that.
love it, because then I don't ever tell them that I know what they said about me, but I just use that like as another way. Okay, like he's getting a little annoyed. Like I always try to let them know, like, I'm not saying these to be like, I don't enjoy being a jerk.
Nope.
Well, it's not bad, but I do it because I care, and it's I tell them, quite a few of them all the time. Like, I don't like you. I can't stand most of you, but I love you.
Right.
So
right.
I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear. And then when it comes to sports, I don't really know anything else but sports.
Yeah.
So I know everything that I did wrong to not be great myself. So I and they trust and believe me because they've heard stories, they've seen what I've been through, and they saw after my first transplant, I went to Spain and dominated. Well, I mean, it was transplant athletes, so it wasn't that great, but I got offered a pro contract to play basketball in Scotland after that, and I was just like, no, I'm cool. Like, I validated myself with this gold medal. Done. I'm not playing basketball anymore, and I don't think I have since. Now, I played in Salt Lake City too, but it's I think why they even listen to me a little bit is because they see me grinding it out myself.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't just tell them what to do. I show them, and like my biggest push is I always say, like, lead by example. Like, I'm not going to tell you to do. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And especially like the ones that come there and that play basketball, that group of rising sun boys that are so arrogant and terrible. They'll come to Pops running their mouths about basketball, and it very quickly changes. And like I'll put it on them, or me and like a couple of my buddies who have no idea how to play basketball, but we're just like, man strength's just different. So we put it on them, and I get them to realize, listen, man, like, you have all the potential in the world. Your window is wide open right now, but it's going to close. So stop saying all this dumb shit. Stop telling me how good you are and just show me.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's what this generation is. They are all about like the likes and the talk. And like they just come off as so arrogant when very few actually put in the work to line up with it. And like, it drives me nuts because these dudes, and like, no disrespect to anyone on JV, you got to do your time. But like, if you're on JV and you score or you have a decent game, you should absolutely be proud of yourself. But don't post on Instagram talking about that you're him or you're D1 bound. Because if you're D1 bound and you're a freshman or sophomore, even some of them even juniors on JV,
yeah,
if you're in Cecil County and you're on JV, you're probably not him. You're probably not going D1.
I mean, that's what we found that out. I mean, we went D3, and I mean, my football program at Wesley was, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
The baseball team was pretty damn solid too. And you found out real quick, like, just look around the room, and you're like, yeah, I'm not the best person in here.
Yeah, and it's like the way I explain it.
That's what we're trying to
get them to understand.
Trying to get it across to them.
Cecil County is not even a small pond, man. It's a puddle.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's just not a lot of people here.
Yes.
You can go to Harford County in just about any sport and get smacked. You can go to Delaware and get smacked. So if you walk in the gym and you got to tell people who you are, you're not him.
Yeah, they don't know your name. Yeah.
Get to work.
Put your name out there.
And that's what I try to tell these kids. I'm like, especially now, like, I don't even respond to most of their nonsense. Like, I was Little League yesterday,
well, yeah, sure.
and they're all talking trash. And I was like, listen, man, like, I haven't played high school basketball in 20 plus years, but I walk in any gym, people still know who I am. And I just said, is that going to be you?
Yeah.
When you get to this point, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be way better than you were. I was like, okay, well, then just show me. I want you to be.
We'll see.
Go be better than me.
Come back and find me.
But you sitting here throwing rocks at little kids and chasing girls around the Little League complex while there's a basketball court right down there, probably not going to be better than me if you're chasing girls at 14, 15 and not working on your craft.
Right. And we're like, you speak it. Oh, go ahead.
So I was just three things, just quick. Like you're saying, like, I agree 100% set by example. If you're a coach, set by example, right? And then two other things is that, like, for any athlete out there, like you're saying, you grind, like, you go hard on your players that you really care about. Like, that's what athletes need to understand is, like, if you're going to practice and a coach is riding you, like, just nonstop, like, they're not doing it because they hate you. They're doing it because they
see the potential.
Right.
Yeah.
They love you. They've spent time with you. They're putting in this effort with you. They see what you can be, and they're just trying to get you to improve to that next level. And then the third thing is that what parents especially need to understand, and what athletes need to understand as well, is, like, when coaches are so hard on these athletes and stuff, like, not only is it a right now thing, but being a good coach and being a good athlete and being coachable just goes so far in life. Like, if you're a coachable athlete, you're going to
a good
do
employee at any job. that you have.
right. You're going to be an amazing employee in life. You're going to be an amazing husband or wife or whoever. You're going to be an amazing parent. It's just, it all comes back to, it all stems down to what you were taught as a team player, as an athlete.
And that's what it's ingrained in your foundation. That's ultimately what we're doing. I don't care about these sports. I care about what these kids do long term, like you were saying. And it's and that's probably where I butt heads the most with parents and kids, is because I don't care about playing a bunch of games.
Right.
I just want to practice.
Right, they're coming like in the mindset of like, I'm doing this to make me better, individually, and stuff like that. But I tell my kids the same thing. Like, but here's the deal. Like, I was the only person that played football, went to the next level on my team in high school. I'll sit there and tell them, like, 29 of you out of the 30 might not play again. But I'll be damned if you leave here, and tell somebody later in life that you went to Riding Sun High School and you're a piece of crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you're not like a upstanding citizen that has respect and has the ability to compete at anything. That's why our motto is find a way to win, because that goes way beyond winning a game.
Oh, it's life.
Find a way to win.
You got to win
in
in
any
life.
situation.
But that's another part of what they miss, is like how competitive it is to be an adult.
Sure.
Right.
If you don't develop,
There's somebody else that wants more money than you.
Right.
And you can't, no one's, I mean, some things are handed to people.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if whatever you want, you need to go get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, someone else is going to get it before you. Yeah. Right. And that's, it's life, it's everything. And it's why sports to me is the best thing for every kid. At some point should play sports, learn how to fail, because being an adult is constant failure. Life is failure and how you respond to it. But these kids now, like, they're so protected from failure.
Yeah.
And anything that's adversity is like, they're just protected and guarded. And like the way I raised my kids, and it really got real for me, because when I got sick, I was like, damn, like, this shit's not promised. Like, I could be gone tomorrow. Right. So I stopped trying to protect my kids.
Yeah.
And now it's shifted. And when I say my kids, it's like every kid who's ever, any kid I could interact with. Like, I will go out of my way to help any kid. I mean, this girl that I didn't even know, I spent probably an hour and a half just teaching her photography at the Little League fields, because I had an extra camera, and her mom and everyone was like,
shout out Riley.
Yeah, Riley.
I see the picture.
She was like, yo, you can't, like, she might break. I'm like, it's just a thing.
She's in our PE classes, and I actually took Roman to her mom's daycare, so I got to see her all the time.
That's cool.
Riley's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, why not? Like, she wants to learn. Like, why would you ever keep someone from learning something? Right. And obviously situations are different, but like, these kids are sponges and they want to learn, but you got to meet them where they're at. It's so many people just try to drag these kids along. I'm not dragging nobody along. Yeah. Like, I'm behind you, and I'm there by your side, but I'm not front. Like, the goal isn't for me to just walk and you guys follow.
Yeah.
And the way I explain it to them, it's like, it's kind of weird, but like I use Fortnite. I was like, if you guys are all playing Fortnite and you're a little group of 4 and you walk in a line, single file, sniper's going to shoot the first one, shoot the second one, and then you're all dead. But if you walk together, it's going to be a lot harder, because you're moving in a swarm. You could cover more ground, but it's like, you don't follow the leader. The leader is teaching you how to be a leader. Yeah. And that's what I try to do.
You all move up to the front, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, everyone should be a leader.
And I think that's what's so nice about being such a small town. And like, one thing that like we're hopefully going to try to build and promote is like being in a small town and having such positive influences everywhere. Like people like you coaching, people like Anthony, people like Hess. Yeah. Like, we're here to hopefully like guide all these kids to a better life and to help them get to the next level in whatever it may be. And that's like
90% of them aren't going to go to the next level.
Right. and really just anything in life in general, like, let all these people who have experienced life and have been a part of growing up here, like, let us help you, just guide you to whatever it may be next, whether it's sports or whatever.
Yeah. And then have enough to stand on the principles that you learn to go pursue it on your own.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in this generation, like, these kids, for the most part, they don't want to blaze their own path.
Yeah.
They want someone to clear the way for them. But if you really want to live a purposeful life, it's you're not going to be able to see where you're going. Like I was waiting at Home Depot today. I was bored waiting for my order, so I started writing, and it's kind of weird, but it was about like the Carrie Underwood song, "Jesus Take the Wheel." And in my opinion, I don't want Jesus or God or anyone, whatever you believe in, to be my driver. And I used an example, it was like rally car. You're the driver, but your passenger is your navigator who's making decisions. So the road's not clear. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but you have to find something bigger than you. And it doesn't have to be God. Like, I'm not very religious, but I'm tight with the Lord. So I use that analogy to say, though, like, God is guiding me. You find something to guide you, but you're in control. If you don't listen to your guide, or we all have gut feelings. The gut doesn't steer you wrong, but we ignore it because we do our impulses and our distractions. So while you're driving your car and you can't see where you're going, but you see like a little flicker of light, that's just a distraction. So you go towards that light, and that light might be a bug zapper, and then you're dead. But if you stay the course and you trust your gut, your guide, your God, whoever you are, things tend to just work out.
Yeah.
Like especially with Pops, like I never know how I'm going to pay any of these bills every single month, ever. Like, it'll be bills are due on the 8th, and I'm like, crap, man, we got $60 in the bank, and we got $1,200 in bills due tomorrow. I'll go check the mail, and there's a check for $2,000 for someone. Someone sends us, like, it just
meant to be.
It's always worked out, and it's. I'm a big believer in manifestation. You speak it into existence. Positive self-talk, especially for athletes. Like, why would you ever say anything bad about yourself? And it's a terrible habit of mine. Like, all I do is say bad things about myself, but it motivates me.
Yeah, right.
Like, it fires me up.
We talked about that too, about like, we teach mental health in health class, and I say, now listen, you may hear me in PE, like, actually talk crap about myself. I'm talking about myself. When I say you suck, I'm talking about myself.
Strictly me.
Because that's just be better the next time. But
I say that anytime I do anything. Like, I'm like, Aaron, why are you doing that? Like, you're smarter than that. Like, you're better than that. Like, or it's like often.
But some people will wire different, where if you do that, I could do that every single day, 24/7, and I only know that it's only trying to like amp me up. But if people, we go down a whole different path there, we won't. But like, you do that enough, some people will start believing.
Yeah.
Right. But like, if you have the competitive mindset, then it's like, that's strictly for like, just amp you up.
But that's another, when you say the competitive mindset, that's kind of a part of youth sports that's gone too. Like, they don't have a competitive mindset because they're scared to death to try. And I totally get it, because every move they make in every sport is recorded. Yeah. Because everyone's got 4K videos in their pocket. So I don't think enough adults, coaches, and people of our generation or the older group, especially me, like you guys may have got some of it, but if you got a game recorded when I played, it was a VHS recorder.
Right. We had DVDs.
It was very uncomfortable. But like, so these kids essentially have a paparazzi with them all the time. Yeah. That's a pressure that I don't think anyone really takes time to understand.
Huddle is very easy to catch your mistakes.
Yeah.
The eye in the sky, baby.
And me being the egomaniac that I was, I would have loved it.
Yeah.
Right.
I probably would have flourished.
And the competitor, because you're like, well, listen, I had a pretty good game, but I know every play is not going to be, I didn't take my steps right this time. Yeah. I didn't put my hands right on this guy.
Anytime I watch myself do anything, I nitpick it.
Sure.
But I think that's...
I watch myself
also as a competitor.
I watch myself on a podcast. I'm like, why are you sitting like that?
What's wrong with your face?
Rusty, my coworker, was like, this is so off topic. I'm sorry, but I have to bring it up. He's like, I thought Maggie was under the table, and then I realized it was your bare feet just sticking out. He goes, raise that camera up a little bit. I wore socks tonight, so sorry.
Trial and error,
But I did look at it. I'm like,
that's all this is, man.
Damn, I could see my feet.
But that's so important, because you're willing to fail. Right. And then you fix it by putting socks on.
I'm willing to put my dogs out there for an episode.
I did, like, I got clowned the first nice day. I wore flip-flops. Everyone at the Little League complex was clowning me. Like, hey, where's the beach? Why are you wearing flip-flops? Man, I'm letting these dogs
flops.
Just let them breathe, man. My toenails are mangled, man. They need some fresh air.
Big fan of the thong flip-flops.
Like, why not? It's nice out. Like, but like with these kids, when someone criticizes them, like, they're quick to shut down.
Yeah,
right.
To where we, like, maybe just, like, we grew up in a generation where, like, maybe our parents just bullied the crap out of us and we just took it.
Well, I contribute all mine to coaching, just because the way I coach now is because of how I was coached. And you talked about, like, we only talk to the kids, and, you know, we're never berating the kids, but you're only staying on these kids. Like, a shout out to Vaughn. Vaughn would always say, like, if I'm not talking, you should be worried, because that means I've pretty much just given up.
Yep, I'm done with you.
Yeah, like, if I'm not talking to you or to the team, be worried, because I've given up. And, like, but, like, he never did. I never will. And it was like, you know, we were 1-9 this year, and it was like, I'm not going to stop talking. I'm not going to stop coaching. Like, we're not going for the state championship.
So have you noticed with some of your team, like when you play a team where they expect to lose, where they'll self-sabotage and not try their best, or they'll say, oh, we're going to get smacked anyway, because that drives me nuts.
I only saw that. No, I didn't see that at all. We had one game where we got destroyed, but it was a half day. I told them not to go home and go to sleep. They did. I know it. We all know it. I'm not even, like, calling anybody out here. We all had a conversation about it, and they all agreed. You know, it was what it was. But, you know, I think what's good with my program, at least, and a lot of people's too in Cecil County, like, if you build a culture of, like, swagger, like, listen, dude, I don't care what our record is. You better go out there and play with swagger. And, like, they're stepping on our home field. I always say this, maybe more a couple choice words in there, but, like, you're being disrespected that they're coming out here thinking, you know, stuff's sweet, and, like, go show them it's not.
Yeah, and even if you're down 40, you don't stop until that last whistle blows. And that's why I love, like, I really gravitate towards baseball, because it's so much easier to teach effort through baseball because there's no clock.
Sure. Right.
You got to get the out. So you can be down by 15 runs, and it's the bottom 5, and you're about to get 10 runs, and it's easy. Like, and then we've done it a few times. We're like, hey, we don't got to score 15. We got to score 5.
Yeah.
And then you do that, and it's it makes it easier to get them to want to keep fighting, because they're not constantly looking at the clock. You know, when you get later in the innings, you know, and they're like, and we're down to our last 2 outs. But it's when you can create a atmosphere and a culture of, like, hope with 1 out, you know, bottom 9, 1 out, and you still can teach these kids that, you know, you don't give up, you don't fight. It's a skill that they take to everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned through getting sick and that's, like, my mindset completely shifted. And if I would have got sick at 13 and not 30, I would have been a pro in 8 different sports. And it is simply because I developed, like, I'm not ever going to quit.
Yeah.
And I won't complain. I won't make excuses. And no one would fault me if I ever did.
Yeah.
But I think that's why so many people gravitate towards me, because ever since I got sick, I became an open book with everything that I was going through. But it was never an excuse or never me whining. It was just always, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I'm gonna, like, it's just like,
watch me go through this.
Yeah,
watch
like,
me come out the other side better. And
every time
you're not going through this, right? And you get to just do what you like. Just, you know, go be better. Like, you have the ability to do it. You have the physical ability to go do it. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like,
I
bet you, I probably get 15 messages a week, and it's just, and it's so powerful. And this is, to me, it's more beneficial than anything in this world is the impact that you get to make. And I have so many people that say, oh, Aaron, I just wanted to message you and let you know, man, I was going through this thing, and then you made this post, and then I thought about you and all the things you've been through, and you still find a way to be positive. How am I just going to sit here and whine because I got a flat tire or something? Yeah. We get so caught up on trivial things and things that we have no control over. Like, we are so powerless in this world, and we waste so much energy on things we can't control. And that's, like, with the kids and anyone I get to mentor, is like, control the controllables and do everything you can to, you know, dictate the outcome. But at the end of the day, if you know you gave it everything you had, you can walk away from any situation with a sense of pride. Yep. Because not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people literally give their all in everything they do anymore.
Right. Yeah,
it's a lot of half-assed.
You'll carry the regret with you that you didn't do it, and then 10 years later, it's like, damn, I could have did better at that. I could have studied for that test or something.
Yep. It took me 17 years to get my associate's degree, and I'm very proud of that because I didn't quit.
Yeah. It's in there, baby.
It's there. Got it. Can't anybody take it from me?
It's on paper.
I don't know where it is, but I know I got it.
Well, true. Yeah, I don't know where mine is too. Not that it means anything since our college doesn't exist anymore. But
oh yeah, R.I.P. Wesley. I had a lot of friends that went there.
Oh man! Well, before we get into our last question, you down to do a little bit of little trivia? We've been doing this with all our guests.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm not very smart, but
Well, it's a good thing the trivia is about you. So
no.
yeah, I looked up some things.
I love me some me, so I might get a few right.
Let's go. Oh, hit that trivia button. Hey. Oh.
Well, that's cool.
We picked that up 2 episodes ago.
I love it though. It's growth.
Yes. He's like, I got something for us tonight. He's like, it's a trivia soundboard. Or he's like, listen to this. I'm like, I love it.
That's dope. Yeah, you're either progressing or you're regressing. You're not. There's no such thing as staying the same.
Heck yeah. So, all right, first question. We're all about you. But the first question is about high school. In what year did you win Player of the Year in basketball?
When did I 03. I graduated in 03.
Right,
I should have
one
gone
for
in 02. Brandon Foskey, I outscored you. I was better than you in every category you wanted. No, I love Brandon. I dropped Brandon's name because I love Brandon. And he lives in Texas now, one of the biggest supporters of Pops.
Nice.
He's always sending something or reaching out. He's a good dude, but I still think I should have won Player of the Year in 02.
All right, we 1 for 1. 1 for 1. That's
pretty good.
Anthony was 2.5 because he missed it by 1 loss. So we'll see. So now you're coaching Cecil softball. When was the last year before this year that Cecil had played a softball game?
Last year was, let's see, I got to do math.
You take your time. We'll get a Jeopardy soundboard on there.
I'm going to go 2018.
Boom. 2 for 2. All right. These are nowhere near as hard as Anthony's, but it's pretty good. All right, now, I know you're going to get this one, so you're going to go 3 for 3. And you talked about the transplant games, and I read your article, and it said, in your words, who did you get smoked by in the 4x1?
Smoked by
It was after you guys won the gold in basketball.
Oh, Great Britain beat the brakes off of us.
Ding.
They are no joke.
We need a full like buzzer sound when we get.
Well, one of these is a.
3 for 3, baby.
But the Great Britain cheats.
Oh, that's suckers.
I don't have a boo one.
Boo.
They go to the hospitals. Like I actually think it's really cool. And like transplants in Europe are like a really like it's just a lot easier process.
Okay.
And they go to these hospitals and they literally like look up these people who are getting transplants. Like, hey, you used to be an athlete. Yeah, they're
in the
recruiting.
transplant hospital.
They had a guy on the basketball team who was 7 foot. They had a 7-footer on the basketball team.
I appreciate it.
I love it.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. I mean, that's finding a way to win. If I tell you what,
It doesn't matter if
recruiting the hospital.
it's an Olympic sanctioned event.
Yeah.
So I mean, why would you not? And they keep a medal count. It's pretty legit. And they go to the hospitals. Like I still talk to quite a few people. And like, yeah, like I'm getting ready to go to the hospital. We got this guy. You know, he's only 24 and he's getting a kidney transplant. And he used to be a.
But you should have seen his numbers.
Yeah. And their track team, like this dude,
Oh,
they're
my
running
goodness.
like 11s in the 100 and like smoking us.
That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. So, yeah, I mean, shoot, this is a good conversation. I knew it would be because I knew once we're talking U Sports, like, you know, you're the guy to talk about U Sports just because you do so much for it. Before we get to our last question, though, give a little hometown spotlight. We did get a nomination from somebody. Now, Kenny gave us a nomination for Rising Sun softball, but I already shouted them out, so sorry. You did really good. You're undefeated.
We can shout out multiple.
Okay, well, we'll start with Kenny. We'll end with the one because Kenny shouted out Taylor Stapleford from shout out Tyler, Jake, and all them. She got 17 strikeouts and allowed 1 hit or 1 run in their 2-1 win over Elkton.
17 strikeouts?
Played the whole game.
What did they play? 7 innings, so 21 outs total, and 17 were strikeouts.
Yeah, and it was the full 7 innings, so it was 2-1. So
got a scholarship for you if you want to come to Cecil.
Shout out Taylor Stapleford with the Rising Sun softball team, and then also this is a cool one that, and I'm not even going to shout the guy that sent it in, but Jacob Brown. Not sure who you are, but hey, thanks for sending one in. He wanted to shout out Michael and Dan Wright, who are the coaches of Elkton High School Wrestling. And they, I guess, were longtime wrestlers of Cecil County. And he just said I'm going to use his words because they were good, but they said they are a study of the sport and encourage our youth every day. So shout out Michael and Dan Wright, Elkton High School Wrestling.
I like that. Study of the sport.
Yes.
And I'm
I'll be
so
using that.
glad that people are finally sending us those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it just makes it so much easier, and like that's what we want. We want people to recognize other athletes in the county.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's huge.
I don't know
I
everybody's
love that
stats.
you're doing that.
Besides me going to a game at the high school and being like, "Hey, go Rising Sun! I'll shout you out again." But
Right.
I want other people in here, so that's awesome.
Right.
So shout out to you, Michael and Dan Wright, and Taylor Stapleford for the 17 Ks. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's silly.
And didn't walk one person on, I think, as well. 17 Ks, no walks,
Pretty
one
good.
run.
It was
Run
a 2-1
some
game, right?
softball.
So
2-1,
they needed
yeah.
that.
They
They needed to play that well.
They're a
needed it.
powerhouse, man.
Yeah, so shout out to them. But last question before we let you go here, and this is kind of our staple question, and you've hit on it a lot, but I just want to know, we've heard from a basketball coach, a football player in the NFL, we've heard from a wrestling, and you're a guy that does all the sports. Like, what does competition mean to you? Like, being competitive, what does that mean to you?
Everything.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
I just
Yeah.
want to. Everything to me, I make it a competition because it makes me work harder towards that.
Right.
To the point, even I was playing Uno with my daughter, and she beat me once, and I yelled, and she started crying. I mean, we play Uno at Pops, and these kids beat me, and I'm ready to flip the table over.
the
Like, I
Monopoly
restrain
board.
that. But I think it's competition is what makes us better.
Yeah.
Right.
And like one of our shirts at Pops, or what we do, Pops and BROH shirts, and it says on the back, like, we want all the smoke. Like, we're not. I will never duck anything or anyone. Like, I don't care if Michael Jordan's like, I'm better than you at basketball. I'm like, no, you're not. Let's play.
Let's try it out.
He should. Well, he's like 60, man. I think I got a shot.
I mean, unless Mike Tyson says he's better than me in
That
boxing.
will not do.
Yeah, you're good. I'm not
Yeah.
competitive anymore.
But I think that, like, competition should. Like, America was built on being the best.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to be the best at whatever you do, whatever you pursue? And that's the only way to be the best is to play against the best. And you see that a lot now in youth sports. Like, you have like an A caliber team playing in C tournaments. Why?
Yeah, true.
Why would, and like, I see it all the time with kids. They always want to play on the small field so they can hit a ton of home runs. I'm like, why do you ever want to play down? Like, you're now on the 90-foot field. Your home run is no longer 200 foot. It is now 310.
Yeah.
You're not going to get better here.
Yeah, man.
And so, like, I want all the smoke. I want all the competition. I don't care what it is. I will give everything I have. I will probably die competing. And I'm okay with that. Actually, I want that.
I love the fact that you brought up Uno, because that's our friend group as well. Board games usually start fun.
Any games.
And they just end like, my wife doesn't like playing on my team. My wife's friend gets like visibly and audibly angry. Taylor, if you're out there, when she finds out she's on my team, because she knows I'm going to yell at her.
Usually,
yeah,
how
I
it
get
ends
it.
up is like everybody plays, and then by the time it's all said and done, it's like just me, Dom, and like 3 of our other buddies.
That's like, even like, we play a lot of wiffle ball, and like, I've gotten to the point now where I won't play a lot of things just because I will make it less fun for my team. Because I don't know how to play for fun.
I'm trying to keep that in mind.
Like, if it's like a young group of kids and we're at Pops and everyone wants to play wiffle ball, and like, oh, Coach Aaron, please play. I was like, I want to, guys. I really do. But I don't like the person I become in competition. And I will say things to you that are going to hurt your feelings, because winning matters to me more than your feelings.
Amen.
And that's just,
That's how it should be.
I can't turn that off. So
Yeah.
I will never run from competition, but I will avoid it. And I think that's probably why I stopped playing basketball a lot too, because I don't like the person I become when I play basketball.
That's your alter ego.
I want to step on everybody's throat.
AR-15.
I will
baby.
shake your hand afterwards.
Sure. Because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
But
and like, it's just gone. Like, that's why I don't even watch the NBA now. They're all friends. Like, we're not friends.
whistle to whistle, baby. Do not like you.
No.
Do not like you.
Actually, last night at Little League, Trent,
Yeah.
the goober that he is, did the hidden ball trick. Hid the ball behind, like, he had his finger out in his glove, hid the ball behind it. And my son, being the squirrel that he is, was like, Trent, can you help me put this in my back pocket? He just hit it. Well, he didn't hit a double. It was probably a Ari. He got off because of error and ended up on second because it's Little League, and they just throw the ball around. So he starts walking off the base. Trent tags him out. Trent's mom's furious at him because Trent's mom loves my son. And like, that's your friend. Why would you trick your friend? And I walk up right up to Trent because end the inning, fist bump him. I was like, man, genius play. Caught him snoozing. And she's like, what are you fist bumping him that for? It's because there's no friends in competition.
No.
I will fight my mother for a win.
Me and my mom do go at it in a game of cornhole. We talk so much trash. It's not healthy. But yeah, I feel you on that one, man. But hey, listen, it was awesome to have you on here, and I appreciate you.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like it means a lot. Like it's nice to know that the things that I'm doing matter to people who aren't there daily, aren't my best friend,
We're just viewing
know
from
me.
afar.
Yeah, like it's good to know that it helps add it's gas in my tank because it shows me that people are listening, people are watching, and people care about what I'm doing. And it's reciprocated. Everything that you guys do. Like I've watched a few of your shows. I've watched a couple of these. I'm not a big podcaster, like because I'm just like I'm like these kids. I got a goldfish attention span. But like I'll put it on while I'm working away, and I just love to see people pursue things outside of what is socially acceptable or what their job is or normal is. Like so many people get fixated in this today's age. Like you see so many people start podcasts or start a thing, and it fizzles out because they don't get the likes they want.
Yeah, we got 50 listens on our last one. Up those numbers, by the way.
But it'll happen if you're just consistent. Like
I like to just sit here on a Wednesday night and shoot the crap with friends. And
I just like talking to people, man.
Yeah,
Learning
I
people.
love.
and this is like the last couple, we've just learned so much about pops, bro, wrestling.
Right.
I don't know this stuff. Like when your Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy comes on here, you're gonna take that one. So my only question is gonna be, can you choke me out real quick?
On camera.
I will watch that.
I'll make sure to what is that called? Clickbait stuff like that. Just a picture of me.
You gotta have the good thumbnails for YouTube. Thumbnails matter.
I gotta work on that.
But
before we get off, just if people want to reach out to you, where can they get a hold of you? Social media, all that stuff.
Don't send me a Facebook message because I never check those. I'm sorry for everyone who's just left unread. I just don't. Probably Instagram's where I spend most of my time. What is my Instagram? Like Coach Aaron R is my Instagram handle.
Let's find that out real quick.
I think, but that's like I'm open and I literally love talking to people, meeting new people, and helping anyone I can. Whatever they want to pursue, and even if they just need a little boost to help them believe in themselves a little more, because this life is not hard. None of us are getting out of this alive, but we should enjoy this ride and do everything we can to leave a positive impact on this place, because that's what matters is your legacy. Like, how long are people going to remember you when you're gone? And that's
absolutely
what I try to do. Like,
amen.
I want to be annoying for many years after I'm gone.
It is at Coach Aaron R as well.
All right.
Aaron R.
Aaron.
Yeah. So
I get that a lot.
So anyway, man, awesome to have you on here. Appreciate you, opening up and letting us know about things you're doing, and even about the stuff that is behind the scenes. But you said you're an open book about it. But hope you enjoyed it.
Oh no, I loved it. It was cool. I mean, outside of all this Eagle stuff down here, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like that. Not everybody. I don't think anybody that's come down besides Anthony has been an Eagles fan. Right. So anyway,
I don't even watch football. Once I stopped drinking, I stopped watching football.
Either come down here or you don't.
Yeah, if you don't like it, get out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We'll record somebody else.
Yeah.
But hey, if you liked what you heard, go listen to the other ones. We got Coach S talking basketball. We got Joe talking football. We got Anthony talking wrestling. Now we got Pops culture, bro baseball, just youth sports in general. We're going to cover it all.
Yes, sir.
So if you like what you hear, go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, share us with somebody. Watch the YouTube if you don't like listening to podcasts. If you want to watch something,
like and
do
subscribe.
that. Like and subscribe. Got to make money somehow.
Right.
But anyway, it was great talking again, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Later.
See you.